morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, and I'm on my way to get my T-Mobile Tuesday 10 cents off per gallon gasoline. Hope everyone is doing well this morning. So today, what am I talking about? Bearing fruit. So yesterday's video, which I have not uploaded yet, I mentioned that I was going to talk about it, and I couldn't talk about it yesterday, but I feel better talking about it today. Bearing fruit. So this comes from someone who made a few comments on a couple of my videos, and it is so hot, but I can't turn on my air because I don't have any gas in my car. Gosh, it's hot. Maybe I should wait until I get my gas and then I can speak comfortably. I'll be alright. So, the air came on. Silly Zachary. So, this guy had made a few comments, and one of the things that he said is if it bears fruit. And I thought it was interesting because that saying is, well, not it can, but it does mislead. It is misleading, I should say. When you say it bears fruit, basically you're saying, hey, if it bears fruit, then it must be true, right? And, well, we have to look at what is true. Something is true. What is happening is true. But why it's happening and how it's happening, now that's a completely different story. So, if it bears fruit, then it must be okay, right? Well, if you look at it literally, if you look at nature literally, sometimes nature bears fruit, but you're not supposed to eat it. Sure, it looks pretty, it looks just like all the other berries, but there are some berries that are poisonous. There are some fruits that are poisonous. There are some fruits that are deadly. And because of this, you're supposed to be mindful of it. Use discernment. Have knowledge. Don't just eat the fruit because it's bearing fruit. Well, that's not silly for some people, but it's silly for others. So for myself, it's silly because I know better. Just because someone smiles in your face does not mean you buy it. Hook, line, and sinker. Literally, right? So we have to be mindful of this, if it bears fruit. Well, if it seems true, then it must be true. Well, what's happening is true, but like I said, why it's happening, how it's happening, is something completely different. Something completely different, and this is why we have to investigate. We can't just accept something because someone says so. I would hope that no one ever accepts what I say just because I say so. Investigate. Now, a lot of what I've learned, I've used my own life as the example, as proof that things are happening the way that I say that they're happening. My life is completely different because of the things that I've heard, but it was validated by my history. So when we look at something like the law of attraction, when I first learned about the law of attraction, one of the biggest epiphanies that I had was, oh my gosh, I created all of my suffering. Like, I remember saying that to myself. Oh my gosh, I remember having these thoughts. And it was with Abraham Hicks. So let's go with Abraham Hicks, because I've spoken about Abraham Hicks quite a bit. That's the first person that I've ever heard law of attraction. Nah, I take that back. It was The Secret that I heard the law of attraction. It was a movie, and I think it was back in 2014, 2015. Had to be 2014 or 13, something like that. Maybe 2013. Maybe about a year after I bought my house. And anyway, but, that's where I first heard about it. And then that's, like I said before, that's when I went on YouTube and I found Abraham Hicks. And, okay, someone's in a rush this morning. Hope you get there safely the way you driving. Wow. That's where I found Abraham Hicks, and you know, that's why I realized that I did literally create all of my pain and suffering because of my thinking, my feelings, my thought. Back then, Abraham was just talking about thoughts. She wasn't talking about feelings or anything like that. Or he, whatever it is, we, they. So, you know, it's like I understood what I understood in the moment. And at the moment, I thought Abraham Hicks was the shit. Like, that was all that there was to know about law of attraction. I was like, oh, this person knows everything. I don't need to listen to anybody else about law of attraction. Really, that's how I felt in the moment, because it was such new information, and it gave so much clarity as to what was going on in my life and and the trajectory that I was on. Like, I was really into Abraham Hicks, and I was really hanging on every word that Abraham Hicks said. Now, after a while, there were some things that didn't make sense, but I kind of disregarded that. I remember, if something did not make sense, I just disregarded it. And I was like, okay, that doesn't make sense. Let's just focus on the things that do make sense. Okay, that doesn't make sense. I can't understand that. I don't understand that. Okay, let's just focus on the things that I do understand. Now, I remember going through that process. And it wasn't until I came upon, I think, Dolores Cannon. And I started learning things about the spirit world. And I was like, okay. And the reason why this was fascinating is because after I got over, I should say, after I realized Esther Hicks was not the one talking on stage, I realized that Abraham was a spirit. So that's what fascinated me about Dolores Cannon and her work. I was like, wow, I can communicate with them, because how I saw it was, oh, these people are actually paying money to go to seminars to listen to Abraham Hicks speak through Esther. And I said, okay, well, that's fine. I go, but if I become a hypnotist, I can actually make direct connections with these spirits via my clients. So I can get information directly from the source instead of having a translator. But it was really the same thing. I didn't understand that. But that's how I saw it in the moment. And the thing is, even though things were happening, even though spirits were speaking through these people, whether they were conscious or unconscious or in a trance, well, they're all in a trance. But even if this process, or even though this process was happening, I believed it in the moment is my point. But then later on, I came across AJ Miller and their channeling, and I was like, well, this channeling is different. How is it so different? And the thing is, the process was the same, meaning spirits were speaking through a vessel, but how the information was being presented was completely different. The energy was completely different. And that's when I realized these are all just people. See, when you listen to something like Abraham Hicks, you believe what they say, and they say, hey, we are from source, we are connected from source, we are part of all that is. And that's true, but we all are part of all that is. But when they use the term source energy, you have a different understanding in your mind. We have the understanding, well, it's God energy. It's God speaking through us. And so what we do is we accept that this is God, or this is energy or a being speaking that is connected to God. But somehow we feel that they are somehow more knowledgeable and more powerful than we are. And so we keep ourselves small, and that's exactly what they want, is they want you to be small. They want you to hang on every word that they say, because they're getting their addiction met. But I didn't know this back then. I had no idea. But the process was happening. So if it bears fruit, it must be true. If it bears fruit, it must be true. It is true, but it's not the truth. And there's something completely different between those two things. The truth is the truth. But what is happening is true. Is it true that Abraham or Esther Hicks is channeling? Is it true that Mary Luck is channeling? Absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing is, I was reading the comments, and people are really hard on Mary Luck. because they'll find all kinds of fault in that, but they'll hang on every word from Abraham. Why is that? Why is that? They're both channeling. But why do people doubt why do people doubt Mary Luck when she's channeling? And they'll find faults and mistakes, but they won't find any in Abraham. Why is that? It's because of what I said earlier. People see it's how the information is presented. And so you're going to believe what you want to believe. You're going to believe what you're going to believe. You're going to find what you want to find. And if you want to find fault in someone, you're going to find fault in someone. That's easy to do because you're on the hunt for it. We're all on the hunt to prove something wrong so that we can continue to believe what we want to believe. And that's just the process. That's the process. But in order to break out of that, you have to understand that that is the process. You have to understand that's why we're doing what we're doing. That's why we are clinging to the things we want to believe. And this is why we deny the things we don't want to believe. We only deny the things we don't want to believe or don't want to admit or don't want to be accountable for because it allows us to hang on to the things that we want to believe, that we want to be true. Whether or not it's true, that's a totally different story. Oh, there we go. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. I don't know what I was, where I left off. But, we have to be mindful in terms of the things that are presented to us. Just because it makes sense doesn't mean that it's entirely true. For instance, some of the things in the Bible make sense, right? Because of our beliefs. And the thing is, our beliefs are what made the Bible what it is today. Because it is interpretation. It is man's interpretation of messages that have been given to humanity from, if you want to call it, the heavens, or what people call the prophets, who were connected to beings in the celestial spheres, and beings who were not in the celestial spheres. So the Bible has so many different things in it, but the thing is, if it bears fruit, if it makes sense, do you believe it? Well, it says an eye for an eye, and it makes sense. If someone does something to you, you do something back. That is something that most people really believe on the planet. They truly, wholeheartedly believe that. And it makes sense. If someone hits you, you hit them back. You teach them a lesson. If someone's harming you, you harm them back. That's what the belief is. That's what the thought is. That's what the feeling is. So, do you believe it? Well, most people do. Most people believe it, and some people don't even believe in the Bible, and they believe that. If someone screws you over, you have the right to screw them in return. That's true for people. But it's not the truth. It's not in love. It's not loving. So we have to be mindful in terms of what bears fruit, if it makes sense. There's a lot of things that make sense, but they make sense based on our current understanding, our current consciousness, our current awareness. And let me just say this. There are a lot of things we're not aware of. So our limited consciousness is going to lead us down a path of limited experiences. And this whole thing about you got to be right, and this is one of the things that really trips people up. This feeling of having to be right, seeking information to be right. This is what really trips people up, because they hold themselves hostage by this so-called idea of being right. I did not come to know what I know today because I felt I was right. If I felt I was right with Abraham Hicks the entire time, I would have never gone beyond Abraham Hicks. And there are some people who do not go beyond Abraham Hicks. There's this lady, we used to be Facebook friends. We don't chat much anymore. They grew up in a religious household, I believe. And then they made Abraham Hicks, came across Abraham Hicks. And now everything's Abraham Hicks. And they would say things like, oh, that's stupid bullshit in terms of religion. It's all crap, it's not true, blah, 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 right? But there are some things about religions that are true. But the religion as a whole isn't true. And because of that, she still has a lot of resistance. And you can tell by the way she presents herself. You can see the anger within that person. Even though they're saying they're a master manifester and they're manifesting this and manifesting that, they're still angry. That doesn't change your emotion, your soul, the contents within your soul. Sure, you can, find dollar bills on the floor and attract lattes and have these people give you things, and that's fine. You're able to attract that. That's great. But it's really not if you have the awareness to understand that all of these things that you're getting means nothing if you're not happy. If you're just a miserable old broad, then what's the point? Well, that means you're just a miserable old broad with a latte in your hand. That's all it means. But do you really want to live like that? Is that really how you want to have an existence? Well, clearly that's true for them. It's true for them because it's happening. In that moment, that's happening. Now they can say, oh, wow, look, I'm a great manifester. Follow these steps, and it'll happen. Fine, and people can look at that and say, hey, if it bears fruit, if it works. But they don't understand the whole of it. They don't understand what's truly important, because all that's important to them is finding dollar bills and having lattes. Manifesting this, manifesting that. Oh, I scored this. Oh, I scored that. Okay, well, you're going to need those small things. And that's exactly what's happening. Is people use these small little things to try to cover up and deceive themselves from the true misery that they're actually living. I see this a lot in these videos, that these law of attraction manifestation videos. You can, I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm pretty sure you guys can see it if you really look at it. But like I said, we only want to find the things that we want to find, and we don't want to find the things we don't want to find. And if we find the things that we don't want to find, we quickly find the things, or focus on the things that we want to find. It is a game of chess with ourselves. It's crazy, but it's true. It's true. It's happening. It is absolutely happening. That is true. Move over one more time. Thank you. So, just be mindful. If it bears fruit, it doesn't mean that it's truth. It's true. Some aspect of it is true because it's happening. If it's happening, it's true. But it doesn't mean it's the truth. It doesn't mean it's happening from the truth. It could be happening from something that's not true. You know, your stress, your worry, the fear that you're experiencing could be true, or is true because it's happening, but it could be because of something that's not true. And that makes it not the truth. For instance, all stress, all worry, all disease, all struggle comes from things that aren't true. All of it. But it's true for you. The experience is true, but it's not from the truth. The truth, which is love, does not bear, does not bear any fruit that you cannot have. You can have all the fruit of truth and love, but it's the fruit that you eat that is not from that. That's the poisonous berry. All untruth is like the poisonous berry. All untruths are from the poisonous berry of untruths. So all experiences, all pain, it all comes from this poisonous fruit. But if it bears fruit, it's there, it looks pretty, it looks just like the other berries, you should eat it, right? Well, go for it and see what happens. Because I guarantee you, your life is going to be sick. Sick. Your experiences are going to be sick. Sick with what? Pain, suffering, worry, stress. Eat the fruit if you want to. You have been eating it for a long time. Seriously. So I was looking at some videos that someone was posting, and a lot of them are like fear-based. Oh, this is going to happen. The government is doing this, and the New World Order, and the what else? The Illuminati, and all these other different things, and these hidden agendas. All these different things. Born from untruths. Born from untruths. Born from fruit that is poison, and you've eaten it. It's the same. It's the same thing as the Adam and Eve story. If it bears fruit, then eat it, right? Well, even though Adam and Eve did not eat any apple, the example is the same. They said, "Don't eat it. Don't eat of this poisonous fruit," and they ate of the poisonous fruit. And because of that, humanity has been sick ever since. One degradation after another. One degraded soul passes their degradation on to another soul. Until a soul decides to stop eating the fruit. Stop eating the lies. Stop absorbing the lies. Stop absorbing the untruths. Just stop. Slow it down. Now, that's generally all human beings eat on the planet. It's poisonous fruit. But it takes a while for the soul to heal itself. You have to get that out. When you eat a poisonous berry, you have to regurgitate. You have to throw it up. You have to get it out of your system or allow it to pass through. One or the other, it must be out of your body. And so the lies must be out of your soul. The untruths must be out of your soul. It has to. Or else you remain sick. Or else you remain sick. And if you don't put the pieces together, if you don't add 1 and 1 and get 2, you'll eat another piece of the fruit. Not understanding that that's what's causing you to be sick. And you'll continue eating it. And eating it. And eating it. And you'll blame it on something else. Why? Because it tastes so delicious. It's so sweet. It tastes so good. But it's making you sick. And this is what untruths do to the soul. It makes us sick. Not enough to kill us, just enough to create pain. Just like you'll cramp if you eat real fruit and you have pain, you'll have emotional suffering. You'll have experiences come to you and cause you pain. One way or another, you're going to experience pain because you've absorbed a lie. You've absorbed something that is not of the Creator, meaning you have absorbed something that is not of truth. Then this is why you can't have a loving experience. So sure, if it bears fruit, right? Be mindful. You have to. Or not. You don't have to do anything. But if you want to... Here's the thing. For people who listen to videos like this, or any kind of spiritual videos, or law of attraction videos, or some nature, there's some kind of self-improvement, you're trying to better yourself. You're attempting to move in a direction to better yourself. If not, you would just watch reality TV and play video games all day long. That's what you would do. You would just get high and well, I can't use that as an example because there's some people who think they're spiritual and they do nothing but get high. Hey, because they feel, ooh, so floaty, so free. Oh, this is the way it feels to be one with the universe. Ooh, have some ayahuasca. I think that's what it's called, ayahuasca. Have some of this. Be one with the tree. Be one with the energy. Be one with source energy. Oh, I felt my spirit animal, my spirit God, my totem this, my totem that. Sure, go for it. That will be true for you. Poisonous fruit, but it's true for you. Poisonous fruit, but it's true for you. Whatever you absorb, whatever you take within your emotional being, your spirit, your soul, not your spirit, but your soul, all things allowed to come into the soul that is of untruth, you will pay for that. Oh yeah, you will pay for it. Something will happen, and it's gonna hurt. It's gonna feel uncomfortable. It's gonna make you sad. And if you deny that, it's gonna make you cry. It's gonna make you angry. It's going to be all these different things. All these different things. Because that's what poisonous fruit does. It just makes you sick. So, we have to stop eating the lie. Stop absorbing it. Stop accepting it. Say, hey, I recognize that. I see you smiling in my face, but I know it's not authentic, so I can't accept your smile. I can't accept your deal. I can't accept what you're offering me. Isn't that what you tell the creepy car salesman? You meet with the car salesman. He's one of these creepy car salesmen, and you know he's just, something's off, and he doesn't care about anything. He doesn't care about your needs. He doesn't care about your desires. He just wants to sell a car for his commission. That's all he wants. But he smiles and he says, hey, I got you. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm going to take care of you. Is that not what they say? I'm going to take care of you. And you have the person who sticks around and buys the crappy car, the lemon car. And then you have those who just say, you know what, that's all right, and you walk away because you know you're not dealing with the authentic person. So you're either accepting the lie or you're not accepting the lie. Those are your choices. Those are your only choices. And what most people do is they accept the lie. And then they have to experience their sickness. They have to experience the car acting up. They have to experience their body acting up. This is what happens. You don't need an Audi. You need something completely different. Anyway, but he can have whatever he wants. He still doesn't need an Audi. So, I think I made my point. I think that makes sense. I know it makes sense, but I think I said it in a way where people can, 110, 110, 110. Fine, we'll do 110. I'm so early. So early. Let me see if I have any money on me. Do I need to buy breakfast? Maybe not. Let me see. Well, I think it's too early for them to break up. I don't have enough for breakfast, so I won't get it. I don't have enough loose change. So, yeah, be mindful of that. Just because it feels right, it feels true, validate it. Validate it. Question it. Don't question it, deny it. Don't like, well, do I believe this person is telling the truth? I've been told all this my whole life, so is this really true? Is this really what's happening based on what I know? No. That's not what I'm talking about. Oh, of course, I can say, hey, you know what? My mom taught me that, whatever religious belief there is. Fine. Now, anything that I hear that is contrary to that must be a lie. That's not what I'm saying. That's not using discernment. I mean, really investigate it. Look at your life experience. Look at other people's lives. See if it's really true, if what is being said is true. I'm not saying to absorb it wholeheartedly. I'm saying allow it to be something that you're using to contrast what you already know. To see if both things can be true. And then ask yourself, well, if this is true, and that's true, what is the truth? That's what I'm saying. If this is true, if this feels right, but on the other hand, this feels right, why am I having... Because only one thing can be true. Now we have to ask ourselves, now why do both of these things seem true? What is making these things look, feel, and seem true? This is what we have to ask ourselves in order to get to the root. In order to get to the real truth. That's if you want it. You don't have to do it if you don't want it. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. Because not all people are looking for truth. Not all people are looking for truth. This is something I have come to understand. This is something I have come to accept. Not all people are looking for truth, even though they say they're looking for truth. That's not what they're looking for. They're looking to be right. And they're looking for the thing that looks the most right to them. That's it. That's why everyone has all these different beliefs, because it seems the most right to them. And you can't do anything about that. I can't do anything about that. Now, I used to want to do something about it, but now I don't want to do anything about it. Because it's not my job, it's not my responsibility to course correct anybody. Course correction is done by the Creator. For we are all the Creator's children. And the Creator has the capacity to course correct. The Creator has the only authority to course correct. I don't have the authority to course correct anybody, but I do have the authority to course correct myself, which is why I focus more on myself these days than I did in the past. In the past, if you listen to my earlier videos, you can hear it in my voice that I was trying to course correct people who are listening to my videos. Now, I'm just speaking it and allowing them to accept it or reject it. If they want to course correct, let them course correct. If they don't, then they don't. If they want to continue to live life understanding that we have past lives in the way that we have past lives, then so be it. We do have past lives. We do have past lives. But there's only a handful of people on this planet in this moment who have experienced that. And there's some people who believe that there are billions of people who had many, many lifetimes who are currently on the planet. And that's fine too. That is an okay thing to believe. There's nothing wrong with that. It's going to yield an outcome. That belief is going to yield an outcome. I know what the outcome is. It's really not important for anyone else to know what it is, unless they're on it. I'm not trying to say anybody else is right or wrong. I'm saying, hey, if that's your path, that's your path. You be on your journey. Be on your journey. That's your journey. Who am I to tell you that what you are creating as your reality is wrong? I can't tell you that. I just know what the outcome is going to be. That's it. I know the course correction in the future. That's what I do know. And there are other beings who know more than I, who know of my course correction in the future. It is what it is. But my point is, attempt to understand where your journey is going to take you. Where is the journey going to take you? It's going to take you somewhere. See, our journey, our course, our heading, they're not this mysterious thing. It's not some random thing. It's not like you just get on a road and drive. No. You can know exactly where you're going, where you're headed. You can know that. It's not difficult. If you know what you want, you can manifest that. And if you know who you are, you can understand why you can't manifest something. That is a course, that is a journey in itself. What you're creating right now is your journey. It's your path. You may want something different than the course that you're on, but the course that you're on is something that you are creating in the moment. And you could have known this is where you were headed a long time ago. Just like you can know where you're headed, your course. Whatever course you're on, and you change nothing, you know where you're headed. Because you've been headed down that path and toward that direction for some time now. So it's not this mysterious thing. You can absolutely know where you're headed. And you can do a course correction. You can say, you know what, I'm headed down this path. There's some people, here's an example. There's someone that I know who used drugs most of their entire adult life. And their life was going downhill. I mean, they were like strung out and addict. Okay, so you want to play bullshit games? We play bullshit games. Let's play bullshit games to where we're not going to let that car in. All right, well, don't let me in. That's fine by me. So, the path that you're on, I mean, the drug addict. So the drug addict was, strung out on crack, and all these, and his life was headed in a direction. And he knew where his life was headed because one day he prayed to God and said, please help me. Please help me. God, I pray to you, help me. I'm on a path that I don't want to be on. And when he told me this story, it was quite interesting because he said, I cried. I asked God for help and I cried. And when I woke up, I had no desire whatsoever to do drugs again. And he hasn't done drugs ever since. Ever since, he has never done drugs. Because he knew where he was. He knew the path that he was on. The journey that he was taking, he knew where he was and he knew where he was headed. And he didn't like that path. He didn't like that journey. He didn't like that experience. And he knew where he was headed. And so he asked for course correction. And the Creator helped him course correct. So life is not this random thing that just happens. I am 30 minutes early. Oh my God. It's not this random thing that just happens. You can absolutely course correct. You choose your path, people. Whatever you want. Whatever you want. There are people who have dark souls and still they get whatever they want. Material-wise, I'm talking about. Because most people want things that are material in basis. But not a lot of people ask for health. Not a lot of people ask for well-being. Not a lot of people ask to help be guided in a direction for those things to be happy. They just look for things. Manifesting lattes. Really. I want to manifest lattes. I want to manifest this car. I want to manifest this house. I want to manifest whatever. These clothes, these boots, these shoes, these clothes, these whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. And that's what they're looking for. And so you get the person who's miserable as fuck. Miserable as fuck. Holding a latte, driving a Rolls Royce. Because that's what they want. That's what they're asking for. That's what they're desiring. So they get to have the Rolls Royce and the Bentley with the latte in the hand. And $150 million in the bank account. They get to have that. But they're miserable. They're angry. They're sad. They have cancer, liver disease, heart disease, brain tumor, osteoporosis. You name it. But they're all doing it with Rolls Royces, Bentleys, and $150 million with a latte in hand. Because that's their journey. That's what they want. They're not caring about the other stuff. They're just caring about the material things. And so, the material things that they focus on are the material things that they get. Meanwhile, they're not really focusing that if they don't have the health, if they don't have the love within themselves, and they can't truly enjoy the physical things. Oh man, let me tell you, this stuff is amazing. This stuff is absolutely amazing. And here's the kicker. Because there's some people who are listening to this and they want to believe They want to focus on the material things. Hey, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with focusing on the material things. You can have whatever it is that you desire. But it's better to have those things in love. It's better to have... Is it not better to have a Rolls Royce when you can drive it? I mean, come on. Isn't it not better to have a 2-story home when you have legs to walk up the stairs? When you have the strength and the ability to walk up the stairs? Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? I guarantee you there's someone right now who has a multi-million-dollar 2-story home, but they can only live in a room on the first floor because their health is too bad. It's failing. Yep, that's the truth. That is the truth. Actually, I'm just gonna... Sorry. That is the truth. So what you gonna do about it? Do whatever you want to do about it. You can do nothing. You can continue believing what you want to believe. If you make YouTube videos and you have a certain belief that is completely different than anything that I've said, then continue moving forward with that. Just continue moving forward. What are you gonna do? It's nothing you have to do. So it's whatever you want to do. Again, it's your path. It's your journey. It's for you to decide what you want to happen. Thing is, if you want to be right, it's not going to be for you. If you want to be right, this is not going to be for you. I don't know where I'm going in this neighborhood. This is, what is this? What is this area called? Ladera Heights, I think. This is, for those of you who don't know, who don't live in the LA area, this is where the wealthy black people live, if you will. All the big houses are out here. But now, and this is interesting because right around this neighborhood is a hood. Like, because I was just on Crenshaw. So the hood is what surrounds this Ladera Heights, or Hills. I think it's Ladera Heights. And now you're starting to see whites come in and buy the properties because they're big houses and they're not as expensive as living in, say, like the Beverly Hills area or other prominent areas. Oh, that's a nice African tree right there to the left. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know where I'm going. I don't want to go that way. I'm just so early and they don't open the building until 7. It's like 6:36. I just thought I'd do a little driving. But anyway, yeah, I'm starting to see a lot of white people doing their morning jogs and afternoon jogs, and I'm like, oh, okay, starting to change. Pretty smart. I mean, the big houses out here, it's a pretty nice neighborhood. It's quiet, it's decent, there aren't a lot of crimes going on. So it would make sense to buy in this area because the houses are big and cheap. Can I get out that way? I'm gonna try it. I don't know if I can or not, but I'll try it. Ooh, there's a nice big house over there. Huh. They're Jaguars and Escalades. Ooh, that's a big one too. These homes are massive. I'm not a ranch style home person. I like stories, like levels. I don't know. Which way do I go? See, some of these routes, they like circle back and dead end, so it's kind of hard to tell. There's some nice houses out here. Park View Park. Ooh, you can see all of LA. To the left. To the left, to the left. Ooh, that's beautiful. Ugly weather though, but beautiful. I don't know where I am. Hopefully I can get to a main street and find my way out of here. Anyway, so I guess that's it. Just be mindful of the fruit that is presented to you. Because just because something bears fruit does not mean that it's edible. and you can figure this out by looking at your life, your past. This is what I meant by that. All you have to do is look at your life, and you can see the truth of all kinds of things. You can see the fruit that you're supposed to eat. Oh, I don't know what I'm on right now, but I've never seen this road before. But I don't know where I'm at. Maybe I should go to Randy's Donuts. I've been down that road before. That is a big no-no. So anyway, you guys have a wonderful Tuesday, and I will talk to you guys later. All right, bye now.